Dear viewers, once again, welcome to a new episode of your favorite program, the Daily Trend Francophone Edition Season Finale. Today's topic is very pertinent, very crucial. But before I move on, I would like to share this story with you. So I have a friend, in 2022, she traveled to Morocco to study. So once there, she realized that many people there have the same ethnic group or are from the same country with her. So, Mr. Fomija, what do you think about that?
What touched me is that they have this. They are from the same country. Means that they all leave one country to another country. So this is what we call migration. They migrate from their mother country to another foreign country.
Yeah.
This is what I can say about it.
Okay. Mr. David, what do you think about it?
Simply in the term, we say that migration, because what you are relating is talking about migration. And migration is movement of people from one state, continent, country to another in search of a better life. Simply.
In search of a better life. So on this, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that our topic for discussion today is understanding migration and its impact. So as Mr. David said, okay, migration is a movement of people from one country to another, or from one locality to another in search of a better environment or a better life. So what actually, lead people? Because we have different type of migration. So we'll look at the different type of migration that we do have. So, Mr. David, can you talk about that a little bit?
The topic we have today is topic we need to talk about, because when we are seeing what are going around today, especially the youths running out of their country in searching of better life, I will define firstly because we explain it.
Yes.
And we have a different type of migration. Let me mention, based on these two, the internal and the external. The internal is a movement within a country, a state, a continent, movement within. But when we come to external migration, it's talking about, is also called international migration.
Of course.
It's also the movement to different states, different continents, different community, locality. Searching for what? For this purpose of a good life, for El Dorado. For El Dorado.
Yeah, so internal migration is the migration within a country. And the external migration, or the international one, is the one within, like, from one country to another. And also we have a return migration, which means actually the fact of, people living in the host country. So those particular people coming back from their home country, that one we call return migration.
Return migration, or also immigration. So they come back to the continent. Like we explained, you said it. Moving internal migration is, for instance, when somebody leaves his village to Lomé. This is what we call internal migration.
Yeah, and that also leads to exodus.
We don't
rural exodus.
Actually, we have four types of migration. We have internal migration, external migration, we have immigration, and we have immigration.
Yeah.
So you have four types of migration.
So we can also talk about the chain migration, which is actually what? The chain migration just means people, a group or a family, so that want to migrate, for example. So they do it in a group, right? So, and that also, they follow people that already made the journey, so that it can be a little bit affordable for them. And that chain migration is a little bit cheaper.
Based on that point, he said something I would like to, is not rebutting, but you do not, you have a lot of migrations. If you have, for example, forced migration, forced migration, people that are facing challenges in their countries, for example, war, we have
natural disasters like climate change,
drought, flood, and also this killing in their society. People move in state, like, because of this thing that's happened, because they don't have any choice, so they are forced to leave. When we mention in the North, we are having a violent extremism.
Of course.
What is going on? People may decide to move from that place to another locality,
another locality
for security.
Yeah, and also we have the legal migration. The legal migration is what? You want actually to migrate, right? So you have your visa, you have, because it is not, that has to do with the international thing.
For not for us to last so long on this, those migration you were saying, they are involved in the four main different, because if we talk about the legal migration, you pass through the process.
Yeah,
it's also involved in internal or external.
Of course.
If you want to travel to abroad, it's external, and you'll pass. It is also migration. So it means that it's involved. And now the question is that, the question is that what before migrating to another country, people are persecuted. People are running from something.
Will I say that is the genesis of the migration?
Yeah, people are running from something. And sometimes when I hear our leaders, our international government talking about the solution to migration, without talking about the problem itself.
Like what lead people to actually migrate?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Because Albert Einstein once said, knowing the problem is how to solve the problem.
Yeah.
So we cannot talk about the solution to migration without talking about
what
migration
actually
itself.
leads to that particular thing.
So first of all, before finding a solution to it, we have to find what people are running from their mother country.
Cut the word for you. I did not cut the word. But what wisdom is trying to say, the genesis or the foundation of migration in a society, because this is very topic that is very important for you, the youths. You youths, let me just tackle education. Youth today, when they are studying, they want a better education in their countries. But because of this lack of infrastructure, lack of program that will really help students to boost or to continue their study, they are obliged to move to external countries to find a better education. Let me also mention unemployment. Unemployment in our society today are leading majority of people.
Of course.
When you go to village, people are leaving these villages and they are coming to town in search of what? Better job.
Not only that, people the unemployment thing that you've just
this happened. Well, I wonder myself, I ask myself, why, for instance, if you take the percentage of people migrating, we don't have French people, we don't have United States people, we don't have Italian people. It's always African, Pakistan, and so on and so forth. Means that this happens in undeveloped countries, in problematic countries like Togo, where when you study problematic continent, like in Togo, where you study, you all the time sleep with your certificate in your drawer. You wake up with it. You don't have anything. When they launch recruitment, they ask for 5 years of experience. How many students today have their certificate and also have their 5 years of experience? Now, it doesn't make sense. Very soon, I saw on peer that the Togolese government built to help people for job opportunities. They launch recruitment and they say any certificate, any university certificate, but the condition that you have to have 5 years of experience. How many students that got their PhD, master degree, BA, with 5 years of experience?
And what wisdom was trying to say is a kind of that is bringing a kind of complete or a spirit.
Besides that, when we ask those migrant, what? Sometimes we think they don't know. Sometimes we think that they ignore the risk that they are taking, but it's not true. All of them say that they know that on the way they can lose their life, they can even die.
Of course.
Because I hear so many witnesses saying that even on the way, on the desert, through Libya, where do they pass? They pass through Libya. So on the desert, you even saw dead body like this. The person is dead, but nobody bury him. You can even see people's bone in the desert. Nobody bone. And even before you take the journey, you are also told that it is very, very risky.
Yeah, and people that particular people that you just mentioned, they are risking their life. And also, I heard about people are passing through sea. People that are Maroc, for example, they pass through seas. So they actually, people that are good at swimming, right? So they swim to attain what? To attain Spain. So knowing exactly that they can even die at that particular moment. And actually people are looking for what? As you said, for
beside this, to support your idea, very soon, last Saturday, there was a shipwreck in Italy.
Of course.
And more than 40% lose their lives.
Basing on what he
Yes.
said, I watched something recently on DY documentary. Was talking about a young guy, is Ghanaian that moved from Ghana to Italy,
Yes.
looking for a better, his students.
Yes.
And what happened when he went there? He was seeing pictures on medias. Our brother that's over
Yeah,
there,
are already
they were
there.
sending, they were, taking pictures.
Like they are stable.
This is another aspect.
They are showing them that this place is Eldorado,
Yeah.
this place is better.
Of course.
So these youths, they are leaving their community,
Of course.
intending to have this same vision, this same better life. They do have.
And also
This is what we call portrayal Europe.
Of course.
The Europe that is portrayed on TV, on social media.
Do you know what
So
happened?
when you see
And
this,
the
you are
reality is
attracted
not
to
something
go there.
else.
Do you know what happened?
Yes.
When he reached there, he realized that different is the case. And he was saying, the one thing I quote about it, Europe is the real hell. Because
Yeah.
there is discrimination
yes,
there.
of course.
There is a lot of
Like
problem
the-
challenges.
And
Yeah,
even
we
if
can
it
even
be
mention
beside
them
that to support that,
Yes.
there's even a job in Italy called Lavoro Nero. What is a Lavoro Nero? Lavoro Nero is a black job, a job that is only for black people, migrants. So you work from 7:30 to 5 p.m. and you are paid only 25 euro without food. While you have to pay your water bill, you have to pay your electricity
you have
bill,
many bills
you have
to
to
pay.
leave to pay your room.
Yes.
So this is what our leaders are
Yeah,
pushing
and
on.
also poverty is the one main factor. Because we can talk about this without mentioning
Poverty.
poverty. Because
But
for example,
in this
you
matter,
living in a community
we
whereby
after the very beginning,
poverty,
after the very
yes.
beginning, we said because people don't have job, they are in research of better life.
Yeah.
They are research of better economic
Because-
future.
of
But
course.
sometimes if you see yourself, we sometimes hate in ourselves in our country that when you have a degree, you are not. There are some
Happy with.
faculties on the university at the university and on the campus. Once you are in those faculties,
Faculty.
you consider yourself jobless. And when you meet people in town,
Why did you say
they ask
jobless?
you.
Why did you say
No,
consider yourself
let me
jobless?
tell you. When you meet people in town and they ask you what are you doing, and tell I'm studying law, I'm in English department, I'm in French department, I'm in history department. They ask you the first question is what are you going to do with this
At
study?
this different
For example,
It means that there's no opportunity for those people.
You can't say that.
You cannot.
I'm
The
not
question is
against you, but that one you can say.
let me ask you. In
there
Togo,
is-
for instance, give me an example. In Togo, how many students in philosophy or law department are recruited? When they launch now, support that.
Yeah, you
Let us
mentioned
not
English
take our-
faculty.
let us
English
not-
faculty.
let us
It
not
is
have-
not, very soon
you
Togo
know, I
join
understand
the
your point.
Commonwealth.
No, I understand your point.
Yes,
Don't
you
tell me
get
that
your point, but
Togo
yeah,
join the
you-
Commonwealth,
No,
so
it's
we
not
have
because of
opportunity in
the
English.
fact that
The question
No,
is
no, no.
the
Let me
question
just
if we
pinpoint
Yeah,
on
we are-
one
we are-
thing.
we are not
You are
cutting
looking for
you.
solution. You are saying something
Yes.
that is very important. Let me take. You mentioned English department.
Yeah.
Someone that studied English.
Of course.
I can teach.
Yes.
I can.
I'm actually-
I don't refuse.
I can do a translator.
The question
Well,
is there.
I- a lot
The
of
question.
things-
Let me ask you a question. The question is what is pushing those people? The question is not the solution. The question is the reason why I said our government is
That is
making
not-
nonsense.
not-
is
Poverty
because
is the solution.
it's
Poverty
because
is the problem.
is the problem.
We have, for example, violation of human rights.
Yeah,
not
discrimination
only that.
in the country.
But the question.
Let me land.
Let me land.
Let me land.
Please.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
Most of
Yeah.
those migrants, they don't live here because they are persecuted. They don't live here because they have problem with whoever. They live in research of better economic future. They
Not
don't have
only
job.
that,
They are
we
poor.
can't even,
They are
you
looking
know,
for economy. It's
you
not
know,
because
we
they are
can't even,
persecuted. If you take
talk about the fact that
it's not because they are persecuted. They don't have job. Even if you are talking about English that you can think, you can teach. In how many school do we have in Togo? And even if you are recruited, how much will you be paid?
My brother, we have many schools in Togo.
How much will you be paid?
Let us calm down.
Yeah,
and
let's
try to
come back to the motion
explain,
itself.
because because
if you are, Anga cannot, resolve that particular problem.
I know a lot of things is going on.
The thing is, when you see people losing their lives, look in a simple a mere shipwreck. 40%
a lot of
their
things
life.
are going on.
It's not.
The point we are going to tackle here, a lot of things going on. But viewers, we are Happy to have you, and the topic is getting more interesting, very hot, but let us take a quick break and we'll be coming back to give you more clarification about this topic.
Migration in its simplest form is when a person or group changes where they live. This could be a move from one village, town, or city to another in the same country, but it could also be an international movement from one country to another. However, when migration occurs, there is a ripple effect that affects people who are not involved in migration. In this video, we're going to focus on some of these effects in migrant origin locations or countries, that is, the places where migrants come from. Talking about migration effects is tricky for a few reasons. These results firstly can be observed at different levels and time periods. We will discuss how mobility can have micro-level effects, for example, on the immediate family members and households that an immigrant leaves from. On the other end of the spectrum, we'll talk about effects at the country or regional level, which are also referred to as macro-level effects. We can also see effects at the community level in areas where migrants come from. This video is not meant to give an exhaustive list of all of the effects migration can have on a country or place of migrant origin, but to give a general overview of the most common mechanisms and effects of migration in the country or place of origin. In this video, we will refer to the ways that migration creates effects as mechanisms. These are typical characteristics or components of migration that directly lead to observed effects in origin locations. There are a number of mechanisms through which migration can affect those who stay behind in their country or place of origin. One of the most common ways in which migration can have effects is through remittances, which is the money that migrants send back to their family, friends, or communities of origin. Another way effects can be manifested is through social remittances, or the norms, values, and knowledge transfer sent back to families, friends, and communities of origin. These transfers can also be made by the networks or relationships that can be facilitated between the country of origin and destination by the migrants or diaspora groups. Another way that migration can manifest effects on the country of origin is by the absence of the person themselves. While these mechanisms can create effects at the country, community, and individual levels, the actual effects generated can vary and can be both positive and negative. Let's start by looking at some individual or household level effects and work our way up to the country or macro effects. At the individual or household level, some of the most common effects of migration are on poverty, living standards, education of children, and health outcomes and access to health care of household members who stay behind. Remittances sent to households can help to move these remittance-receiving families out of economic poverty, allowing them to have better living standards, send their children to school because they can pay the school fees or don't need the children to work, and can pay for medical care and buy better food, resulting in better nutritional outcomes. The majority of research shows that migration has a positive effect in all of these areas, but that does not mean this is always the case. For migration to have a positive effect, it often matters where the migrant goes, if they're able to send back money, and if they keep ties with their families in the country of origin. For example, a study in Nicaragua showed that the positive effect of migration on the well-being of the household who stayed behind was more pronounced when the migrant was able to move to the United States compared to moving to Costa Rica. The study uncovered that while migration affects poverty, poverty can also shape migration trends. Migrants traveling to Costa Rica generally had lower education levels, were younger, poorer, and came from rural areas. Migrants bound for the United States were considerably more educated and thus had a good shot of making it in their destination. The physical absence of a household member is another important mechanism through which migration can affect those who stay behind. This is particularly manifested when the person that leaves was a caregiver in the household. The way children in particular spend their time can change when a household member leaves because there may be more immediate need for children to step up and complete household duties, or even work for wages, possibly instead of attending school. There may also be less oversight of children in a household due to migration, which could have effects on their physical and mental health, as well as school attendance and performance. However, a study in El Salvador found that child schooling in general did not suffer if they were receiving remittance payments. Evidence in this area is very mixed and often depends on the specific situation. As with households, remittance receipt at the national level comes with a multitude of benefits related to economic stimulus and even boosting a country's creditworthiness. In fact, remittances may be one of the most widely observed and studied results of migration for origin countries and the households within them. While cash from abroad can be a welcome source of income in many cases and have many positive effects on a country's creditworthiness and balance of payment statistics, this benefit must be weighed against negative consequences like the possibility of less labor market participation. For example, a 2019 study on remittance effects from 2001 to 2011 in Nepal actually found a negative association between remittances and labor market participation, meaning that people receiving remittances were less likely to work for wages. However, there were gender differences with these effects. While women were generally observed to be engaging in more self-employment, men, on the other hand, were seen to be increasing their leisure time. This is an example of what economists call moral hazard. Besides the direct effects of remittances on labor supply and macro fiscal benefits to a country, migration can also affect wages and alleviate unemployment pressures. Proponents of emigration will argue that if more people leave a country, the resulting smaller workforce will generate higher wages and take pressure off of possible high unemployment figures. In 2004, when a wave of migration from Eastern Europe to the UK and Ireland occurred, Benjamin Elsner investigated how this affected wages in origin countries, particularly in Lithuania. This migration actually drove wages up by about 6% in Lithuania, although this affected young workers more than older workers. While there are clearly positive effects of emigration, such waves of departures can be controversial. Some will argue that if too many highly skilled people leave a country, the national level of human capital will decrease. Dozie Oke tested this idea in 23 sub-Saharan African countries and found a decrease in skilled labor for 22 of them, resulting from emigration. However, another sub-Saharan African study conducted by Julia Bredman and her team uncovered that those same highly skilled immigrants typically sent more remittance money back to their origin countries compared to lower skilled migrants. This helped to cancel out any losses from emigration. Finally, origin countries often see effects resulting from transnational ties. That is, the relationship origin states maintain with their immigrant populations can result in knowledge sharing, capacity building, or even in some cases, conflicts between the populations in destination and origin locations.
This wreckage strewn on an Italian beach is all that remains of the wooden sailboat that about 170 migrants hoped would be their way to a better life. It crashed against the rocks early Sunday morning, killing dozens, including children. The boat left from the port of Izmir in Turkey and was last spotted about 74 kilometers from the coast of Stecata di Cutro in southern Italy. Many on board came from Afghanistan and Pakistan, desperate enough to follow the dangerous and well-worn route across the Mediterranean.
When we rescue them, they tell us all their stories, and a recurrent theme is, I knew I can die by taking the sea, but I don't care because dying is better than staying.
Already this year, more than 200 migrants have died or are missing after attempting to cross the Mediterranean Sea into Europe. Italy is a main landing point.
We feel powerless, first of all, and very touched.
Italian police say one survivor of this latest shipwreck was arrested on migrant trafficking charges. In a tweet, the president of the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, said the resulting loss of life of innocent migrants is a tragedy.
They're very saddened by but they're totally responsible for that. If there were avenues for legal mobility, people would not come irregularly.
But Italy's prime minister instead wants to prevent migrant departures in the first place, calling on their countries of origin and departure to help. For those who survived, there's still a long journey ahead. 20 were taken to hospital. All will begin their process to get documented in the hopes their new lives will soon begin.
Once again, we are back and we are talking about understanding migration and its impact. We have defined the migration, mentioned a lot of a type of migration we do have, and our friends, or the hosts here on the studio, are bringing out a lot of things, energy. Some people are upset with the topic because a lot of things, havoc are going on in the society. And now we are going to continue in discussing with the topic we have today by pinpointing some points which is very important. Migration itself, and what can we say? It can be because we tackle his genesis, the background, the purpose of this also
what
migration.
lead people and
to.
if we just look at the the screen or the thing that is going on right now, we can even talk about the fact that United States, see the rates. The rate
top
is
migrant hosting country.
This is the host country. So we have 46.6%. And the migrant sending country. So we can also mention the India, for example. So knowing that United States hosts a lot of migrants, right?
Very just from January 20, I'm talking about 2023, from January to this February, that is which is ending this today. We have more than 11,000 migrants to Italy.
Italy itself.
In between 2 months.
Yeah.
So it is not. I know a guy from Nigeria. He's called Latif. He's preparing a PhD. He went to Italy through this illegal migration.
Illegal. Why illegal?
No, it is what we call migration through the Red Sea. We're talking about once he arrived there. It's completely what he was thinking about. Some of our brothers who went there, they use it to take picture with the Ferraris,
of course,
monies, and so when you see this, you are attracted and you go and you
some
think,
of them are also
you think life is better and you think life is better there.
One statistic I would like to bring out is International Organization for Migration, the UN organization says that from 2019, 272 million people migrate, and compared to 2015, when we have 258. So you can consider the rate. But we are now currently in 2023.
We can even
people are moving like the water is in move.
It has become a water like this, the way water
is just.
There's also something. Those impacts, it is not only on the migrant itself, because the migrant maybe has a family behind him.
Yes.
He has his wife, for his maybe he has a children, but the condition regarding the condition he has to live, and once you leave, you have your family behind you, your parents, your mother, your father
you have
behind
to
you,
family.
All those people. And what is worse in this case is that some of our mothers, some of our parents send me money, because some of our brothers, our former brothers who
based on
went
what
there,
you said, can you pinpoint some impact of this migration we are having?
Yes.
It is a social impact of migration. This is a social impact of migration.
And
so it is not only
is that good or bad?
Bad. It's a bad. It's a bad.
Not only
it's
bad.
a negative. No, I'm not saying migration is only good, bad, because you see on
Like, people
internet,
went
social
there,
media,
they are
people who went there,
financially-
they
they
take
are
picture with the
financially
Ferrari,
okay,
they
right?
take picture,
Something.
but you should know that our way of living is not
Yes.
the same.
Let me say something now. When people go out, leave their country to another country in search of a better life and all
Yeah.
that shit, once they get there, it is not only bad or good. We have
No, of course.
outcome, good outcome, and bad outcome. Let me pinpoint out some good outcome. Once the person reach there, not everybody is getting problem over there. Some people, they are working very well and they are getting their page. And once the family is back, as you are saying it, they send money to the family. They can help the family out there. They can
That's
help their
true.
younger one. And also their old mother, like old father that's over there, they will help and they will build something things
Yeah.
a lot of things that will
Yeah,
help
let's
the
take the
family.
example of we Togolese, for example.
you.
If, for example, we go abroad, I mean, every job that we find, we'll do it.
We do
because of what? If, for example,
We have a
I'm
family.
paid in euro
No,
or dollar, for example, if I exchange that particular money into CFA, the amount is so high, right? So, and also, how can we remedy that particular thing? How can we actually solve that particular problem? Because this is a problem at hand, right? So how can we solve that particular problem? So as far as I personally am concerned, I can also talk about the fact that we should, fight poverty, extreme poverty.
You
We
know,
should-
talking about it
Yes.
first before coming to solution, talking about positive aspect of migration. First, you learn a new culture. You learn from other countries. Mrs. once said, a country that is closed on itself will never and never develop.
Yeah.
So for a country, for a community to develop, always have to learn from others. Now, me personally, I don't think we need to talk about the positive aspect of migration, because what migration is causing to our brothers, my dear people, we don't have, because saying it is like encouraging it. It's like encouraging it.
We are not encouraging it.
No, if you want to go to United States,
It's a necessary evil. It's a necessary evil.
Yeah, it's good. We know some people, they are there. But how many of them? The question is this: we should not be based on the few people who succeed their life there, and saying that is good. It's good because some people have a background well based here. Their family are wealthy here. They support them financially. So once you are here, succeed is easier for you. But somebody who has like that allergy I was talking about.
1 point.
It's not that.
1 point. Let me add to what Wisdom said. Also, the problem they may face over there, the migrants, is problem of language.
Because
That's
if that
they
particular area that
they
you
don't
find yourself in,
yes,
if you don't master
the
that
language,
particular language.
illness, because they can't be
Yes.
able to fit in the weather or whatever is over there.
Yes.
Some discrimination, racism.
Status.
You have example what is going on in what we call it Tunisia. Kais
FK. Yes.
is talking about the Kais, the president,
Yes.
talking about the sub-Saharan migrants, coming about this, bringing
being
out
discriminated. Yes.
and they are bringing out people, even the citizens are against that. So racism, discrimination.
And that was also
in April 14th, 2022, UK signed an agreement with Rwanda.
Yeah.
They deported all the migrants in the UK to Rwanda. Rwanda, a devastated country. What people are going to live there? That's the question. Reason why talking about positive aspect of migration.
Like we are encouraging
it's
them.
no need. We don't need it.
But
As for solution, coming to the solution, I think our leaders have a great responsibilities. It's not waiting. We should not wait for the damage, the worst to be done before we make actions.
take action. Yeah.
We take actions. We need to develop our country.
Yes.
We should no more think that European people will come to develop our country. Today we can remark Russian and Chinese people present in Africa. Me, I'm personally wonder myself. I ask myself, are they coming to save Africa from capitalism? Because French people, they have been dominating Africa for many years and nothing changed. Are we facing another form of colonization? This is a question.
And let me
This is the
tackle the
question.
youth.
Yeah.
We the youth also, we must try to know that success is everywhere. Wherever we are in Africa, we are in Togo, we can succeed here easily. We cannot just based on our mind on migrating, traveling to other countries before succeeding. And also the governments, we can also talk to the government, because if the government want really these people to stay in their countries, they must tackle the infrastructure problem you are facing, health, education, road, building.
I heard
schools
one victim
to help.
of this migration said it was a sensitization he launched to African people or to his brothers, saying that the money that you're going to spend to migrate to another country, Italy, you better invest it in a business. Maybe for 6 years or 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, you'll succeed. It's better.
Yeah, let's not be centered on Italy itself. So, for example, we can also increase average wealth level in poor countries. We can also improve social security and health insurance. To help solve that particular problem. We can also fight extreme poverty. I said it earlier on. We can also stop discrimination, because if I'm feel discriminated, so what do I will actually, okay, let me just go outside the country so that I can feel better, right? Yeah, so this is what we should, be centered on.
And also, people also are running out because of climate change.
Yeah, climate change is very key.
Also,
global warming.
There are
global warming.
like the war for Ukraine, for
Yes.
example. You see many Ukrainians.
They're leaving their country.
from-
Yes, they are
Yeah,
living
so
in the
that-
country.
Even
that's
Russia
also-
in both Ukraine and
But
Russia.
Yeah, Ukrainian war that are ahead going. People, move from each
But
country.
This
and
also
then,
call on our politicians, our leaders, to develop and bring new companies in our community and try to
Bring
avoid
new
this.
companies or build companies.
Build a company.
don't think
No,
because
I
don't really
the reason
like the
why I
point.
said in my development, I said that we need to learn from those people. So when you see something good outside, you can negotiate a contract in your company.
Yeah.
So they have a responsibility to develop our own country and also stop putting conditions saying that this year of experience, this year of experience. Let people be
Let me say one
recruited.
thing.
Yes.
Let me say one thing before, because let me wrap up. Thomas Sankara said that we do not cure the illness by calling the name of the medicine the drugs. It's by taking it. We are talking about this topic now, and our leaders need to take action. And we youth, we need to consider this. A lot of things are going on, and people are dying through this illegal migration. So take it into consideration. in order to
One
correct
thing
it
also,
and to
if
save.
you put yourself in this journey, you'll be die. Maybe you may die, and nobody will cry you. Your father will not find you. Your mother will not find you. If you have children, they will become fatherless. They will become motherless. They will become orphans. Who will support them? This is the question. So before putting yourself in this, make sure you many times ask yourself, what is waiting for me?
Yeah, so our dear viewers, so the topic at hand is very crucial, right? So before operating any action, we have to bear in mind that, okay, that particular action that I'm going to take, is it going to benefit me positively or negatively? So in the instances whereby the negative aspect outweighs the positive aspects, yeah, no need to venture in that direction. So we are probably at the end of our show. Catch us. Our show is aired every Wednesday, at 12:15 and 7:15 p.m. with a repeat every Sunday at 12:15. So you can also follow us through our social media handles on Facebook via the Daily Trend at the Daily Trend TDT, or YouTube via the playlist of New World TV, the Daily Trend. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.